Hi, I'm Dorna, and I am the CEO and founder of Documate, where we are a document automation and no-code app builder.
Dorna, thanks for being with me today. I always like talking to document automation, no code, and it is. We were talking earlier. It's bigger than that now. You know that area of this document automation stuff. One of the things that makes it bigger than that is being able to keep track of that data that comes in on the back end. And you guys have just made that a little bit more robust, or a lot more robust for y'all, and a little bit more accessible and easier to see. Because again, you're no code, and you shouldn't have to write PHP or JavaScript or something like that in order to get that information. Can you tell me a little bit about that for people that don't know much about Documate?
Yes, absolutely. So a lot of our customers are building not just internal document automation tools, but also tools that they send out to their clients, they do client intake with, and then they use that data throughout multiple phases of the case, or maybe the client is using it throughout multiple phases of the case. So it's really important to be able to translate that data over from one we call them workflows, which is a set of questions and instructions that generates a set of documents. It's really important to be able to take that data and push it into other workflows, and then also be able to visualize it. So I can give you guys a little demo of that, if that would be helpful.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. I always like to look under the hood.
So as you can see here, this is our master dashboard where you see all the different workflows that you've built. So you might have a client intake workflow. You might have one for divorce part one, for wills and estates plan. And then data managers is where all that data is stored. So I can search inside a data manager either by workflow or do a global search through all the data that exists in all of Data Manager. So if I go to the workflow by workflow basis, I might choose something like the demo NDA, for example. And what that's going to do is that's going to load, as you can see, this is all my test data, so it's all been done by me, but it's going to load all of the data that's been entered into this particular workflow. And you can see it sort of like a little spreadsheet. You can go, there's a lot of fields in some of these workflows. You have some fields that are nested, so you can see all that data directly under there. And then another thing that you can do is open that workflow, edit the data, or download any documents that have been generated at the end of that process, so it becomes a little bit of a file storage system as well.
This looks a lot like Airtable to me, which is a pretty simple to use a database sort of function.
Definitely. So we are very inspired by some of the database features in Airtable, because what we were finding was that, we have really robust integrations with other tools, and Airtable was one of those tools that people were integrating with a lot. So we thought, why don't we just kind of bring some of this functionality in-house and help you and enable you to accomplish that within the structure of Documate.
So what can I do with this information once it kind of comes in here?
Yeah, so once the data comes in here, you as the builder can see all this data. You can revise it, change any of the answers. You can download any documents that have been generated. And then most importantly is you can push this data into other workflows. So for example, let's say I have this demo NDA. My client filled this information out. I filled this information out. I now want to push this data into a different workflow. So let's say the person filled out an NDA. Now I want them to fill out, like a content consultant agreement. What I can do is I'll click push into content consultant agreement, and any data that overlaps. So for example, if there were fields for names or, email addresses or whatever fields that overlap will be pushed into the new workflow. Any fields that you haven't answered yet, you'll be prompted for, and that will also be stored inside of the database.
Okay, so once again, we're creating another method of us not having to enter information in twice. So we save time by not having to enter information in twice. We also save mistakes, because a lot of times, you human error, but then we're also keeping that information sanitized. An email address is an email address, as opposed to putting in somebody's name, last name, comma, first name in some areas. And then in other areas, it's first name and then last name or something like that. So I can see how this would be majorly beneficial to people that not only are already using the Documate platform, but I could see going to the Documate platform just for this type of thing.
Definitely. And one of the other things I'll mention is this feature is also available on the client side. So I'm showing you the builder view, which is the lawyer or the legal professional who's seeing this full view. But if you're a client of the lawyer, and let's say, like, as you know, one of the big things that people do on Documate is they build legal applications. They build legal tools that their customers can use. As a client, I probably also need this type of feature to be able to translate data from part one of my divorce, as that example that we gave at the beginning, to part two, to part three, to part four, to all the way to the end. So this is something that they're able to access as well, which makes it easier and a better experience for them.
Okay, so if I have a set of documents that I need my clients to fill out, they're, instead of them having to enter this information in twice themselves, they can kind of go in and use it as a, client portal, in a way.
Exactly. And actually, when I like that you mentioned client portal, because we are building out a lot more robust client portal features in the next few months. That's one of our biggest priorities. So this is sort of just scratching the surface of client portals.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we can look for that, and I always like seeing new client portals because they're done in a lot of different ways. But this seems to have some obvious methods of doing that, of delivering that. Well, Dorna, if people want to learn more about Documate, they can always go to Documate.org. Where else can they find you guys?
Yes, Documate.org. We also have on that page, there is a demo link. So if they want to see a demo, we have unlimited customer support, unlimited demos. You can talk to us as much as you'd like. We also have an email address, hello@Documate.org, and we respond super quickly there as well. So we're always here to help people get their workflows built and launched.
Dorna, I always appreciate your time. Thank you for showing me around the data manager. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for having me, Zach.